guys, I am going to teach you how to make this mesh oversized sweater, I guess you could call it. I'm using an acrylic yarn. This one is a 4 gauge and I'm going to be using a 10mm crochet hook. I have about 1 3/4 skeins of this and I'm hoping it is enough. I would get 2, but this is just some extra yarn that I had. So we are going to start with our slip knot. So make a circle, put it underneath, and then pull it through. We're going to chain enough to go across the width of your shoulders. If you want it to be more fitted, I would go about 2 inches excess on each end. And if you want it to be oversized, I would do like 4 to 5 inches excess. So I will show you once I have finished chaining mine. All right, so I have my chain. I did 70, and we are going to make sure that we keep a multiple of 10. That is just the easiest way for the math to work out. So you can do 50, 60, 70, however many you need. This is what I did. As you can see, it goes over your shoulder. It shrinks a lot, which is why we're doing this. I might do 10 more because I want mine to be really baggy. Now we're gonna put a stitch marker. I just use a bobby pin in that last stitch. And now we're going to chain another 6. Then we're going to do a double crochet into this spot where we did our stitch marker. Okay, so there's our first. You can take this out. Now continuing all the way down our chain, you're going to chain 3. Then we're going to count. So this one that's connected does not count. We're going to count 1, 2, 3, and into the 4th is where we're going to do our double crochet. And then 1, 2, 3, count 1, 2, 3, 4. And let's do a double crochet into there. So you can see our pattern, and we're just gonna go all the way to the end. All right, I've made it to the end, and I must have counted wrong. I honestly am not like a math person when it comes to crochet, so I just kind of hope it works out. Thinking back, I would do a multiple of 4, so I should have done like 84 instead of 80, but it's okay. It will work out. It will look fine. But if it bothers you, I would go back, make sure you have a multiple of 4. So I only have 2 left, but I'm gonna put it in here. And honestly, once the garment is all made, you will not be able to tell. All right, so we have our first row done. Now you're just going to chain 6. On every end, you're going to make sure you chain 6. And then we're going to double crochet now into this hole. So put the entire hook into the hole and double crochet. Okay, chain 3. And then double crochet into the next hole. We're gonna keep doing that all the way along. And we're just going to continue this pattern, and you're going to grow your top up, and you're going to want it to be from where you want it to hit at the bottom near your waist. You're gonna have it go all the way up to your shoulders, the top of your shoulders. And make sure that you account for when you block it, or if you block it, or if you seam it, it's going to stretch a little bit. So we're gonna take that into account for the length and for the sleeves and do it a little bit shorter. What I'm gonna do for mine is I'm going to have it hit probably my waistband and then have it come up all the way up to here, all the way to the top of your shoulder, and so that it will stretch a little bit more. As you go along too, you can kind of stretch it like this, get a better idea of what the length will be like. So once you've gotten to a length that you like, we are going to make the neckline. And the first thing you're going to want to do is figure out where you want your sleeve to be. So I'll show you how I measure it on myself. All right, we have to do, sorry, this tiny screen way, but I'm just going to hold it up, and then about here is where I would want the sleeves to start going back. If you want it wider, like more of a off the shoulder, you would do it here. So I want mine to be about here, and then you're gonna put 2 stitch markers. So I just put 1 stitch marker actually, because you want it to be even. So sorry for the dog barking if you can hear it, it's a neighbor's dog. So we're gonna count and put our other stitch marker in. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 holes. So from this end, I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And check again, because that seems a little close together. Let's see. Yeah, that's a little close together for me, so I'm gonna do 1 out. All right, so that's where I'm gonna have mine. Then we're going to continue our stitch, do your 6 single crochet, and then double crochet, and 3 single crochet. Sorry, I mean chain. I meant to say chain. It's been a long day, as you can see by my hair. 1, 2, 3. And we're just gonna go all the way along until you reach your stitch marker. There's where our stitch marker is, and we're gonna stop there. So now what we're gonna do is make the other neckline connecting here, and for these full gaps, not counting the one we just stitched into, we're counting 3 chains. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21 full ones. And then for the half, which is where we're putting these stitch marker ones in, I'm counting 2 stitches. 18, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. So that's how I figure out how many stitches I'm going to do. So for your 2 where you're doing your stitch marker, count 2, all of the other ones count 3. And you're just going to chain that many. 1, 2, 3, 25. And then I'm going to do my double crochet into where my stitch marker is. Sorry for the dog again. And then we're going to chain 3, double crochet, and finish out this row. So I've made it to the end, and I already turned my work, and since we're at the end, we're going to chain 6, do our double crochet, and then do your chain 3s, Really hope you guys can't hear that dog. I need to figure out my audio, as I said in my last video. I will figure that out, I promise. Alright, so we are to our last hole, and now we're going to connect it to here. And so we're going to chain 3. And like I said, I'm not really a math person when it comes to crocheting, so if that bothers you, I'm sorry. But I'm just going to go 2 stitches in, so I'm not going to count this one. 1, 2, and double crochet into that one, and we're going to hope that it works out. And then 1, 2, 3. So not counting the last one, we're going to do 1, 2, 3, go into the 4th. Chain 1, 2, 3, count 1, 2, 3 into the 4th. Alright, so we're getting to the end. So 1, 2, 3, 4 would put us right here, and I want it to be a little bit off-centered. So I'm going to just count 2, and I'm going to put it in there. But it's up to you. You can have like a larger gap if you'd like. 1, 2, 3. And we're just going to continue along. And now, as you can see, we're just back to our normal pattern where we go along, and this has just made our neck hole. So now what you're going to do is you're going to make sure that you make as many rows on each side. So if I count starting here, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 23, 24 rows. So then, starting on this neckline, I'm going to make sure I do 24 rows. Alright, continuing on, we are going to first try it on to make sure we know where we want the armholes to be. So this is measuring where we want it to hit underneath our armpit. The lower you do it towards your waist, the larger your sleeve will be. And then we're just going to put a stitch marker where we want it. So I'm just counting up where I decided I wanted it to go. I think it was about 8 gaps going up, and I put my stitch marker there. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Then we're just going to continue where we were before, put our hook into that area and crochet up to make the side seam. I am using a 6.5 millimeter crochet hook. And an important thing to note, when we go up, we're going to try to line the holes up with each row. This will just make it so that it's even. It is kind of hard to do, but what I try to do is count 2 stitches in the hole part and then 1 stitch on the post is what I'm calling it, but that's where the top part of the row is, that solid line. I'm not sure if that makes sense, but just do your best to try to keep it all lined up so that it's even. We're just doing single crochets as we go up until you reach your stitch marker. So now that we've reached the end of our side seam, you're going to switch hooks again. We're going to use the 10 millimeter, and we're going to continue the pattern we were doing before. So you're going to first start by chaining 6 Then we're going to double crochet into the next gap. And continuing on, we're going to do chain 3 and then double crochet into the next spot. We're going to do this all the way around until we reach where we started. Alright, now that we are nearing the end, we're going to do the same pattern. We're doing our double crochet, and then we're going to do chain 3, and we're actually going to just go into this next gap. So usually you would join it so that the row was even. You would join it like 3 stitches up, but the way that I do it is I'm just going to go into the gap and I'm kind of going to make it like a spiral and continue on building our sleeve, and I promise it will work out at the end. Now we're just going to continue chain 3 and double crochet into the next gap. And continue this all the way around until we reach the length that we want for our sleeve. Alright, so I have reached the end of my first sleeve, and on our last stitch, what we're going to do, instead of our normal chain 3 and then double crochet into the next one, we are going to just do a double crochet into the next stitch. And then we're going to switch our hook to the smaller one, and you're going to slip stitch 2 stitches over to reach that next post area. This next step is optional, but what I like to do to make it have a more finished look is to single crochet all the way around the rest of the sleeve. You don't have to do this, it looks fine either way. But I'm going to single crochet around, and instead of going into the chains, I'm going to single crochet around the entire row, if this makes sense. In each gap, I'm going to do 2 to 3 single crochets, and in each post, I'm going to do 1. I started off by doing 3 in each gap, and it is a little bit squishy in there, so you can do 2, or you can honestly just trade off and do like 3 and then into the post, and then 1 single crochet and then into the post. It's up to you. You will see the finished look when I'm done with this, though, to decide whether you want to actually do this step. We've gotten around to the end here, back around from single crocheting, and it looks a little funky joining it. So what I'm going to do is, instead of just doing a single crochet, I am doing a double crochet to build that up a little bit. I did 3 double crochets into the gap, to join it so that it's a little more even. I'm just doing a single crochet, and that makes it a little more even. I honestly don't really know what happened here. If yours looks like this, feel free to do this, or you can just do a normal single crochet. But if you need to build it up a little bit so that it's even, make sure to do a double crochet. Okay, then you're just going to cut it off and weave it in. I go back and forth 3 times to make it as secure as I can. Then we're going to switch to the other side. We're going to do the same exact thing. So you're going to attach your yarn, and we're going to single crochet all the way up to our stitch marker. Then we're going to trade hooks, and we're going to do chain 6 double crochet into the next stitch, chain 3, and then double crochet into the next stitch and continue that around. If you need to look back at the video, I will put a timestamp of where to go back and just redo this whole sleeve area. So here I have finished my second sleeve and I'm just cutting it off, and I'm going to weave in the end. I will show you how I weave this in. Like I said before, I like to go back and forth 3 times. I feel like it makes it a little more secure, and then I will cut it off. I'm just continuing, and I'm going to weave in all of these loose ends. I'm going to go back and forth 3 times. Again, pretty self-explanatory. After I do that, I did end up doing the same single crochet around the entire row to make it more finished on the bottom and on the neckline. That's optional again, but I did it, and I'll show you how it looks at the end. I almost regret doing it, especially on the bottom, because after blocking it looks kind of wavy, so it just depends the kind of look you're going for. I've made this same top without doing it, and I think I almost prefer that. So here I'm just attaching the yarn again so that I can do my single crochets around the bottom. I just attached it into the side seam in just a random chain there. And I continued on. Once I got to the end, we're just finishing it off by doing a couple of slip stitches in next to that side seam, and cutting it off and weaving it in. I have to whisper because the kids are sleeping, but I'm going to show you how I block my piece. It is not fancy at all. I literally just have a large towel, and I usually do this in the shower, but my husband's in the shower, so I'm gonna do it in the kitchen sink. And the dishwasher's running. Alright, my dishwasher was too loud, so what I am doing here, I just laid my towel out on the ground, and then I am running water over mostly the bodice part of it, because that's the part I want to stretch more. But if you need your arms to stretch as well, go ahead and just do the whole garment. Then I'm wringing it out into the sink, and I'm gonna spread it out flat onto my towel. Then I just roll it up and make it tight so that the water all squishes out, and I actually walk on top of it across the towel so it really wrings it out. Then I'm just grabbing some hangers, and I'm gonna hang it up with the sleeves also hung, because I don't want my sleeves to stretch. If you want your entire garment to stretch, just hang it like a normal shirt, and I just leave it overnight to dry. And here is our finished product. I hope you guys enjoyed making this top. There are some changes that I would make in the future. If anything is confusing, please leave a comment and I will try to answer as best I can. Let me know if you have any questions.